Hello everyone. Today I'm bringing you guys the Mythic Plus quick guide for the War Within Season 1. Um, I tried to fix the mic quality. I hope it's a little bit better now. And yeah, Season 1 is about to start. The Heroic Raid and the Normal Raid will release soonish. I guess there's nothing to do in M Plus because it takes like a little bit more than a week until M Plus releases. So I guess the release date is pretty fine now. There was nothing really to release or to do because I wasn't feeling like uploading random heroic dungeons. As you guys can see, um, I've been busy just equipping my rogue. I think around 587, 588 is like I guess the benchmark. I could have min-maxed a little bit better, but I'm playing more than one character, so yeah, takes a lot of time to like min-max the stuff. Kept on Data Stones, 12 Kofakachi, so I guess yeah, the I would say the maximum that you can have. Maybe there's a little bit more, but since the raid release is before M Plus, we'll get like all the gear will be replaced in the next like week and a half. Just for information, I played a lot of beta keys for the people that like weren't there for my old videos. I played around, I don't know, 250, 300 beta keys in the midst of like 3 months. So I would say I'm like at least a little bit qualified to get you guys like a understanding of the M Plus meta and of Assassination Rogue. By far not one of the best players, but I guess I have a lot of experience, at least in Season 1 and the War Within. So yeah, let's start with the quick guide in general. Let's talk Deathstalker versus Fatebound first. So I guess the Herotalents, there's nothing like, there's not a lot to say about those two things. Like, we have two different Herotalents. I'm not gonna go into detail with like all the different talents in the Herotalent tree because I hope that like everyone has basic understanding and just want to jump into M+. Deathstalker right now 2% ahead of Fatebound. Both are really good options. Fatebound is a little bit better when you just want to play like when you have a passive tree because like you can't really do anything. It's just uh, rolling the dice, like getting a damage amp or just doing damage. So if you're like new to the class, I would suggest just play Fatebound and get a feeling of the spec in general. Um, Deathstalker overall is better because of priority damage. You have more single target or priority damage, and that helps in like the new M plus keys. Every plus 12 key will be tyrannical and fortified. So the mobs, like all the mobs and the bosses, will have a lot of health. So Deathstalker is overall right now the slightly better option because it's a little bit more damage and it's a little bit more priority damage. And what's a little bit interesting is with Clear the Witness, you enable Fan of Knives. Fan of Knives does a little bit more damage, and you actually use it like in your core rotation, even in single target. So if you're new to the spec, I would suggest just play Fatebound to get a feeling. Deathstalker is a little bit clunky, the rotation changes a little bit, and there's some bugs that I'm gonna go over next. But overall, for M+, like for cleave, priority damage, and boss damage, Deathstalker is just a little bit better. Next up, let's talk talents in general. Like with the hero talents, I won't be getting into like all the niche spells. Like there are a lot of guides on Icy Veins, Warhead, or Maxwell where you can like read about every single talent. I'm just gonna go over 3 options that you can use pretty quickly. Just put the loadout code in and play it. You can play every build with Fatebound and Deathstalker. I'm just gonna be sticking to Deathstalker because I feel like it's just better in M+. Like I said, I'm gonna put like every link with the builds in the video description, even with the Fatebound spec. So I would suggest you guys, if you are playing like mid to high end and plus keys, I would suggest the hybrid build. The hybrid build is the best out of the 2 worlds, or maybe out of the 3 worlds that the Assassination Rogue has. We always play Crimson Tempest because it got buffed into Oblivion. It's an insane AoE damage spell. So that's like the pure AoE with indiscriminate carnage. You can spread out dots like Augur Roads and Ruptures on like a lot of targets. So that's like the mass AoE that we have. And then we play Caustic Spatter. So Caustic Spatter is like the mid-range cleave option because it's like soft capped at 5 targets and reduced damage beyond 5 targets. And we have pretty good single target DPS. I mean, of course we have Kingsbane and we have Deathmark as always as our main cooldowns. But with Amplifying Poison, with Bone Spike, we have Dragon Tempered Blades and Poison Bomb. And that gives us a good, like, sustainable single target damage. We have great AoE, we have good cleave, and we have good single target damage. So for like the mid-range keys, if you like maybe week 1 you play +7, +8, +9, +10, that's a really good option to play this. Like if you're not sure what you want to play, just pick this build, apply your 4 poisons, and just have fun because this build basically does it all. The only thing that it like isn't doing is the Zoldyck execute bleed damage. Like if you have really low keys, you can play a different build, but I'm gonna come to that in a second. Let's look at the left side of the tree. Most of the tree is set in stone. Some things are personal preference. If you're looking at cheat death and elusiveness, I mean cheat death is just a get out of jail free card. It's always a great spell. If you play high keys, elusiveness is way better because evasion actually is a death cooldown now, and feint does 20% more reduced AoE damage, and you can actually like some of the boss hits or like the ad hits are pretty hard. So elusiveness overall gives you more survivability. Cheat death is like your classic get out of jail free card. The rest of the tree is pretty set in stone. You always play Thistletea, so you always play this row. You always play Deeper Stratagem. So the only options you really have in the left tree and like the general rogue tree is Cold Blood or Echoing Reprimand or Without a Trace. In general, damage-wise, Cold Blood and Echoing Reprimand are pretty good. Without a Trace sucks. Like damage-wise, it is an absolute damage loss if you pick it. I can see why you would pick it because you have an extra vanish charge every some minutes. I mean, it's pretty fine to reapply your poisons and bleeds. And with Iron Wire, you have one more like AoE silence, like mass silence. Basically, if you just spam Road and Ruptures, you basically AoE silence everything. This tree is completely useless. So Soothing Darkness and Subterfuge are useless talents. You don't really need them, and this one isn't really a damage gain. If you're playing Deathstalker, Echoing Reprimand is still bugged. So if you get like the 3 combo point Anima Charge finisher, it doesn't consume a mark of the Deathstalker mark. So it's still bugged, you can still play it, it's fine, it's just a little bit awkward. If you like hit the 3-piece Anima Charge and won't consume a Deathstalker mark. So in general, lethality is really good. Crit strike chance, crit damage, always really good. Cold Blood, you just macro it into your Envenom, so you're perfectly fine there. So you can play these two if you want to lose some damage and have 2 vanish charges. Sure, just play that. Basically, you can pick whatever you want, but these two are the better options. So Cold Blood and Echoing Reprimand. That's the left side. Doesn't really change if you change the build. Let's look at the bleed build. You can play Echo Reprimand, as I said, or you play Cold Blood with Lethality, like this. If you play the Bleed build, you have the Execute of Sudden Demise plus the basically execute function of Zoldyck. So that's like a build for lower keys. Maybe if you play like M0 World Tour or you're playing low keys, this one is decent because the mobs die so fast. Like you won't even get to the Caustic Spatter. You won't even get to like the M poison stacks and like all the poison bomb damage from the like the 2 poisons. They just die so quick that you can basically execute them with Zoldyck and with Sudden Demise, and you will do a lot of damage in low keys. So that's like the build I would recommend if you like play low keys, you can try this build out in heroic dungeons or zero dungeons. But like in high keys, you lack damage here because your cleave isn't really good, and once your bleeds run out, you're kind of starved for like single target or priority damage. Build number 2, and I just want to highlight one more build. This one is like a late game cleave-ish build. If you play like the highest of keys, depending on what's happening in week 1, I'm not sure. On the beta, the highest keys were like 14s and 15s. I'm not sure like how the gear scales in after the heroic week, but this is like a late game cleave build where you have like 100% focus on like single target and cleave. So you sack sudden demise because the mobs have so much health you don't really need it. So you're playing Zoldyck with Amplifying Poison, Poison Bomb, and Dragon Temple Blades. Still playing Crimson Tempest because it's just good. It does a lot of damage. But this build is like for the highest of keys. If you like pushing some of the highest keys there are in like the first weeks. Otherwise, I would say the hybrid build is just, it does everything like best, combines the best things out of the 3 worlds, and I would recommend you just try this build, get a feeling of it, try Deathstalker, try Fatebound, and just play what you want, but this one is overall a really, really good all-rounder. Alright, let's talk stat priority. I mean, it's pre-season, the stats are all over the place. Don't look at my stats, right? 40% mastery is cool, 6% haste is horrible, 25 crit is horrible. In general, what you want is agility on 1 item level, basically into agility, and then you want crit mastery, haste, and verse on rank 5, basically, as you can see on the screen. It is pre-season, so like there's not a lot to talk about stats, but I would say like just sim yourself, right? That's the best tip everyone can get. Sim yourself, look for crit mastery and haste, don't look for verse. I mean, sometimes verse is good, sometimes verse flask in M plus is really good just to get a little bit of more survivability. I think this mage is casting so much that it gets annoying. So yeah, just sim yourself and see what you need. Crit mastery, haste, or some like verse flask for like overall survivability. If you're too squishy, that's a valid option, 100%. Next up, consumables. Um, I'm not gonna talk about like best in slot gear because you can see that on like Warhead, Icy Veins, Max Roll, or watch Whisper's video. He has way more knowledge than me. He does it really, really in depth. He has good timestamps, so just check it out there. I'm not like 100% familiar with like best in slot gear. I think my pre-raid gear is pretty okay. The trinkets are pretty fine. But let's talk consumables in general, or enchantments. Well, you always want crit, mastery, haste, depending on your simp stats for your rings. You want Scout's March on the boots. You always want Chant of Armored Leech on the bracers. Of course, always Crystalline Radiance on the chest. You get a lot of main stuff, that's always nice. You want Chant of the Winged Grace on the cloak. Avoidance is really, really nice. And for the weapons, Authority of Radiant Power is great in M+, but it's only the second best option. For the raid, there is one Nerubian enchantment. You can check that out on the auction house or in different guides. On my server, price is like 250,000 for each enchantment, so Radiant Power perfectly fine. Even Radiant Power 2 is pretty nice and like pretty cheap. So just get these one if you don't have gold cap, I guess, like me. Well, for the pants, you always go Stormbound Armor Kit. Now comes the min-maxing, I guess. Like the boots, don't really need them. I just have them because I tanked a lot on my twink, and I just got them naturally. I mean, healing potion is a given. Feasts are pretty cheap on my server right now, so get these. For pots, you like mostly want to go just the tempered potion, and for DPS, like flask, you always go alchemical chaos. So that's like the overall consumables and item enchantments. Alright guys, let's talk rotation. There are like different options of the rotation. Deathstalker changes the rotation a little bit, and Bone Spike changes the rotation a little bit. With Bone Spike, once you press Rupture, you get energy back when you apply the Bone Spike. So in your AoE rotation or in your single target rotation, once you get the energy back from Bone Spike, you can slice and dice in single target. With Deathstalker, you only apply the Deathstalker mark with Ambush from Stealth. So basically, when you're playing Deathstalker, your first GCD in Stealth is always Ambush. That's about it. That's the only change in rotation. The GCD tracker you can find on the far left of the of my screen. So right here. So the general rotation would be to ambush, erode, then rupture, get energy back, press slice and dice, then clear the witness, mutilate and venom. Then you press Death Mark, Kingsbane, and then you basically just spam. And after 8 seconds, you press Shift, and you just basically play your rotation. You can see my Gerode's already gone. Like normally, when that runs out, you press Vanish and apply your bleeds again, and just go from there. Right? That's like the basic opener. You can see it was really slow, like 650. It can go like a lot higher. And that's like the single target opener, and the rotation is obvious, right? You maintain Gerode, you maintain Rupture, you maintain Slice and Dice. You send your Shift once it comes off cooldown, so you have it ready when your next Kingsbane goes live. And yeah, the Kingsbane after that is of course with a Death Mark. And yeah, that's like the default basic rotation. I just noticed that I was taking the PvP training dummy, so here's the core rotation once more as I promised, with no like commentary, just the overall opener and rotation for you guys without like any consumables or prepods or hero or trinkets or something. You can see it's like between 600 and 700k single target without anything, so yeah. Single target, like, especially the burst or the openers, pretty good, pretty decent. And you just repeat from there, maintain Gerode, maintain Rupture, use your, basically your cooldowns on cooldown, and always line Shift up with Kingsbane, and always line Kingsbane up with your next Death Mark, and that is the core rotation. Use Chiselty when you're low on energy, so you can get a good burst window out, and try to get as much Envenom uptime as possible. So yeah, that's about it for the single target rotation. Well, there's better talents for like core single target rotation, but like we're talking M+, so we always want like the hybrid build, I guess. But the single target is still really decent. Alright, let's talk AoE rotation. It is basically the same pattern as single target. If you're playing Deathstalker, you always open with Ambush. If you are playing Fatebound, you always open with Gerode, right? For the Carnage spread. If you're playing Bone Spike, the only thing that changes is after your first 2 GCDs, you press Gerode, you press Rupture to spread your Rupture on 2 targets, right? 2 more targets. When you're pressing Rupture on 3 targets, you're getting a lot of combo points back from Bone Spike, so you press Rupture again. So you basically have Rupture on 6 targets. After that, you always want to apply Crimson Tempest in mass AoE. After that, you want to get your Slice and Dice up, and then you choose a main target to blow your cooldowns. Right? So first, get all the bleeds up, get Crimson Tempest up, get Slice and Dice up, and then you start sending your cooldowns on the main target that has the Deathstalker's mark. Right. This will look something like this. And the rest is basically maintenance. And as you can see, damage is pretty competitive. You're trying to keep up Crimson Tempest, you're trying to keep up Rupture on all the targets. Like on 5 targets you can actually keep that up on more targets. I mean, you can see the energy regen, right? I'm basically always on 100% energy when 5 targets have Rupture. You just like saw the damage overall. Was over 2 million. So that's the basic AoE rotation. So again, we want to ambush from stealth. We want to apply Geralts. We want to apply Ruptures. With Pulse Spike we get energy back. We want to apply more Ruptures and more Geralts. Next up is always Crimson Tempest and Slice and Dice. And then we pick our main target and send our cooldowns and go into the maintenance rotation. Alright guys, that's the end of my video. I hope you enjoyed it. A little disclaimer in the end. I'm not a good editor. I'm not a good video maker in general. I just try to piece this little, I would say, quick guide together because a lot of you people asked for it. If you want to see more in-depth stuff, go in the Ravenhold Discord, check out Whisper's videos, see the Icy Veins, the Warhead, or the Max Roll guides. Everything is really, really in-depth there. I just try to bunch everything in the small video. You can see the timestamps, so you can click everywhere where you want to go. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope the format was okay. Just give me feedback in the comments. I know that video isn't perfect at all. I guess I made some mistakes down the line, but that was like a quick overview of what you can do and what you can expect for Assassination Rogue in Mythic Plus in the War of Yin. And I am really hyped for Season 1 and hoping to bring you guys a lot of content in the upcoming season. I'm trying to go for the 0.1% title this time. Depends on how much time I have and how much time I can play because of a lot of work to do right now. A little disclaimer. I have a Discord server, not just for me, for a M plus and raid pugging community. There's 35 people in there now, so if you guys are interested in running some high keys or trying to get into a pug raid, just let me know and enjoy the rest of your day. Take care, guys.